I'd been into over 40 fist fights before I was 8, at least 40, because we would fight like 4 or 5 fights a day, 4 to 5 days a week. And it was real fights with real friends and people that they would bring from other neighborhoods and environments and say, hey, you guys play karate and fight one another. And whoever wins, you get $5 or you get this pickle. Literally, they would pay us with like junk food and candy and things of this nature. And we did it. We didn't know any better.
And that backdrop, I mean, you think of being born ill, growing up in the South Side of Chicago in that environment, to make your way to a top college football program and then the NFL, most people would have just crumbled under that. I mean, we wouldn't blame them, right? I mean, those are impossible circumstances, yet you overcame them. What was the mindset? How did you get to such an elite level with all of these things that were not in your favor, clearly?
Welcome to the Secrets to Abundant Living podcast. Your guide on this journey is Amy Sylvis, ready to unlock the keys to a life of true abundance. We're diving into everything from financial freedom and optimal health to meaningful relationships, geographic freedom, and everything in between. It's about creating a life rich in experiences, purpose, and joy. If you're ready for the secrets to an abundant life, hit that subscribe button now, and let's get started.
Secrets to Abundant Living podcast community, welcome to a very special guest episode. Just right before we hit record, I told our guests I'm trying really hard not to fan out, but it's difficult not to. But my name is Amy Sylvis. For any of you that haven't met me, I'm the founder and CEO of Sylvis Capital. But I have the amazing pleasure of welcoming JWalk to the podcast here today. I want to shout out USCJ first and foremost for connecting us. If you haven't seen his episode, please make sure to watch it and subscribe to his channel. My goodness. But JWalk, thank you so much for joining us here today. This is really, really special.
So honored, so blessed to be here. And most certainly, I echo that shout out to USCJ. You know, you're my brother for life. Fight on, big brother.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I was asking him because good people know good people. So I was asking him after we recorded who would be another great person to have on the episode to bring light, to bring encouragement, to bring positivity. And you were the first name that he mentioned. So I thought, oh my gosh, okay, all right, well, let's go. But for those who don't know you, you have quite an incredible story, an incredible journey. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself for those who don't know who you are?
I would love to. I would love to. So my government name is John Walker, but affectionately I go by JWalk. Johnny Walker is a really world-renowned famous whiskey. Most of you may know.
Yeah.
So my whole life I was always kind of teased with that nickname, Johnny Walker, black label. No, I guess pun intended. So I just didn't love that my name was associated with something that I don't really participate in. I don't drink alcohol. I've tried it before. I think it tastes like burning. Like I don't like the flavor of nasty.
Fair,
And
fair.
nor do I like how it makes people feel and act in
Mm,
certain environments.
mm.
So I identify as jaywalk, and
Perfect.
jaywalk it's just, for me, it's a metaphor of Jesus walk. And it's just walk like Jesus, walk like Christ to the best of my ability. And so I've always championed that nickname ever since I was probably 14, 15,
Okay.
when, I started playing sports and everybody identified as some type of a nickname or a code name. I suppose I could start from my statement in life is I truly am a product of God's grace, a
Mm.
remarkable amount of prayer and resilience from family members and loved ones, and a product of hard work and determination. And so I stand here before you as someone who just really, really understands all of the nuances of what it means to live a miraculous and abundant life. And so I'm grateful to share any part of my testimony that might be impactful to a listening audience or someone who may feel themselves teetering on the cusp of uncertainty or lack of direction. Prayerfully, we can get some clarity today and honor our Father in heaven with just being good stewards over the time and the resources that He's blessed us with.
Incredible. Wow. I love that. I never realized kind of the background around your name and, how you identify and then the meaning that that has, which is absolutely incredible. Well, can you walk us through a little bit? We've got some jerseys over your shoulder, which is maybe a little bit of a start of your story. I know it's not your complete story, but can you tell us a little bit more about what path you walked as JWalk? How did you get to where you are today?
Okay. Hey, tighten up your shoestrings. We're about to go for a ride. My story starts before I came into existence, and it starts circa 1980s, early 80s. My mother, my father, they meet in Hawaii, Honolulu, Hawaii, in a small city called Wahiawa. My father was stationed in the military back then as a 19-year-old. He met my mother, who was already living there. They fell in love and they got married, and I pop up. But before that, you have to realize what was happening in the 80s back in those days was it was a high party environment. It was the 80s.
Yeah.
So my mother did not know she was pregnant until 6 months into her term. And whilst she was pregnant, she was living her life. She was partying. Unfortunately, at the time, she was partaking in recreational drugs and some other things that probably didn't create a healthy environment for a child.
Yeah.
And I was born 3.5 months premature,
Wow.
3 pounds, 1 ounce, according to the doctors and stories told. And I was born blind, according to doctors, deaf, low brain function, low heart function, one primary functioning lung, and addicted to a few things, crystal meth and heroin being one of the two. So the doctors told my mom, ma'am, this child is not going to be a healthy person. You probably want to consider not trying to raise this child. That it will be greatly challenged in life, and we don't expect that it will live past several months. It's addicted to multiple drugs.
Yeah.
So my mom, God bless her, she said, I did not know I was pregnant. I did not have signs or symptoms that I was pregnant. And
Mm.
had I did, I would not have been doing some of the things that I was doing.
Yeah.
So God put this baby inside of me. So I'm going to give him a chance. So I spent about 6 months inside of an incubator, building strength. Eventually I grew the capacity to see. I got some color because apparently I was completely translucent where you could see all of my organs and my vitals. It was like a cookies in the oven. You got all the cookie dough and all the ingredients, but
Yeah.
you had to put it in the oven and to let it bake. I don't think I had enough time to bake. So I
Oh,
was all gooey and squishy.
oh my gosh.
If
I'm
that
glad
makes
yours went
sense.
away. I'm still like that. So I'm still
What so the
transparent. Good.
and so the interesting thing is my mom, she fought for me. She fought for me, and ultimately, I got stronger. I was always a sick child. I always had breathing and respiratory issues. Matter of fact, I was diagnosed with respiratory disorder because of the imbalance in my lungs, and I had limited lung capacity and one lung being underdeveloped while the other one was my primary functioning lung. So that's why I said in the beginning, I believe I'm a product of a lot of prayer, God's grace, a miracle by my standard, and some determination on my part. And
Yeah.
so, with that being said, now I stand, before humanity as a, 6 foot, 1.5, nearly 230 pound former professional athlete who's almost experienced and accomplished just about every dream that I had as a young person. And so it's a testament of God's wonderful mercies in my life and a mother who never decided to give up on her child. Matter of fact, my healing process in growing to be a strong and capable young man is what turned her to Christ. And she made a pact with God that if you bring my son through this, I will never touch drugs again. I will never be that person again. I will clean my life up. And so together, we both overcame addiction before I even knew what it was, right?
Right.
Which is why I have a very huge stance against drugs and substances. I'm just completely anti anything that can debilitate your cognitive or your motor skills. I try not to knock people who participate in things, nor do I judge. It's just not for me, especially with the goals of being an athlete that I always had in my life. Let's see, 4 years after, I was 4 years old, my family and I moved to Chicago. My father, again, was stationed in the military, so he was always gone. It was just my mom and I, and we struggled. From my understanding, we struggled homelessness and some other things, just a young mom just trying to figure out life. And a husband who was kind of absentee due to how young they were, I believe, and how young he was. Even though he was in the military, I don't think my dad had the framework to understand like fatherhood and parenting in that
Mm.
capacity. So when I moved to Chicago, I can remember not seeing my dad for a while. And then one day he popped up and he took me to a, called a Kmart in Chicago. I
Yeah.
don't think people know what Kmart is. Imagine like Walmart and Target
Yeah.
before Walmart and Target was a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it took me to Kmart and took me to the sporting goods store. He said, son, pick out any ball you want. Now I think I am about 5 now, at this time. When he came around when I was 4, and then at 5, he's like, let's go. I'm going to teach you how to shoot a ball, play catch, all these things that dads are supposed to do. And again, I'm this little scrawny, measly, weak kid that's always sick and battling pneumonia. And I've got these tubes and things that I have to breathe out of just about every night. I'm battling every type of immune deficiency that you can imagine. I was still growing. So mom never really let me play sports ever, like never. She's like, no, just put this kid in bubble wrap,
Yeah.
keep him safe. I was allergic to everything. I was allergic to life, really. I was allergic to the world. So when my dad came, it was a huge conflict, and it was a huge deal for me to get a ball of any sort, like a football, a basketball, anything. So he takes me down the sporting good aisle. He says, pick a ball, any ball you want. And I can remember just earlier that month, we were watching the San Francisco 49ers play against the Chicago Bears in the NFC Championship game.
Okay.
I'm watching this game and I see the real life representation of who I think is Spider-Man. So I have this very vivid imagination. Spider-Man was my favorite superhero at the time. And I just wanted to be like him. I just wanted to be like Spider-Man. And then I see this guy that's playing for the 49ers. Name was Jerry Rice. And he, to me, was the living embodiment of Spider-Man. Like that's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The ball would just stick to his hands. He was like, looked like he was flipping and running away from people. And I said, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. I want to be like that guy. So from that period on, the 49ers were my favorite team. Jerry Rice was my all-time favorite player and hero. When I got to the sporting goods store, my dad told me to get a ball. I grabbed a little Nerf football, and it was just big enough to fit my hands. And it had like a little whistle and a tail, and my tiny little hands were it was like perfect size for me. It was my perfect fit. And my dad said, no, son, don't get that. We play basketball in our family. Get the basketball, because my father was 6'8". And he's a big guy. And he played semi-pro ball overseas in Germany while he was in the military.
No kidding.
And so I was like, Dad, I want to be like Jerry Rice. This is what I want,
Yeah.
this ball. And he goes, well, all right, then throw it in the cart. And then he also grabbed the basketball and put the basketball in the cart too. He says, you're going to get this too. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
2 balls. I get 2 balls, 2 balls. I get 2 balls. Right. So I'm fired up. And he looked me in my eyes. And this was the moment that, to me, my whole life actually began. He put his big old hand on top of my head, heavy,
Yeah.
very heavy. And my dad had these big giant hands. I mean, huge hands. And he had these long index finger, jammed it into my heart. And I could still feel it pressing. While he's pressing down onto my head, I felt my little spine crunching under the force with that finger driven into my heart. And he got really low and looked me in my eyes and he said, son, you are going pro. And I'm looking at him, and it was a declaration that he spoke over my life
Yep.
that spoke so much truth, so much conviction, so much abundance into my life, where all I could do in my entire being was agree. And I said, okay. I was like, okay. Now, I gave you the PG-13, the PG version. He didn't call me son. He called me, "You little ninja. You
Oh
going
goodness. Okay. I got you. I
And
got you.
that was the language of my dad from
I
South
got you.
Chicago, and it just registered. It
Wow.
resonated. So from that day forward, every choice that I made consciously was to try to turn myself into what I believed a pro was. From the way I ate, the way I spoke, the way I ran, the way I talked, the way I moved in life, I wanted to be a pro. And through the grace of God and a few positive choices and some wonderful mercy, I was able to reach that dream.
Absolutely incredible. I'm just, I don't even know what to say. I had no idea about your origin story, being in an incubator for 6 months, being born at 3 pounds, 3 months early. Wow. All the way to realizing your dream of going pro, exactly what your dad spoke into you
Prophetically,
and what
prophetically, yes.
clearly and what you overcame. My goodness. I mean, did you face any adversity, this process? You must have.
Oh
You
my
must have.
gosh. I was the scrawniest, runtiest little dude. They
Yeah.
used to call me Junebug, Junebug, because I was always running and skedaddling away from fights and struggles. I grew up in Southside Chicago in the Cabrini Greens. I don't know if anyone knows what that is. At the time, it was the most notorious project housing in the country. Matter of fact, they called it Chirac.
Oh, I've heard that term.
It was
Mm,
the murder capital of the world for
mm.
over a decade or more, 15 years. It was the murder capital of the world from the 80s to the early 2000s, essentially. Very close to the early 2000s, where they tore those project houses down. But what they would do in that environment was, believe it or not, no police were allowed in there.
Mm.
There were literally snipers and shooters on the roof from their local gang, and you had to have permission to come in that space. And my dad, that's where he lived. My parents separated. He had his own little place, and it was just like on like the 40, felt like the 40th floor. I don't know. It's like these tall
Yeah.
buildings. And we'd have in the elevators, they would always cut the cords to the elevators. So there was no automatic up and down. You had to walk up every step. And every set of steps had a general at the front of the door to make sure you were the right person that's supposed to be in there. And these are pretty prominent gang members and people who you could see their guns. You could see it was a rough environment. It was not a place for the weak of heart. It was not a place for prey. You had to be a predator to live there. And you had to be a working, functioning person.
Mm.
And where I got my notoriety was these gang members used to force the kids to play hide and go seek or play tag.
Wow.
And it was like the last to survive pretty much. And they'd be like, "We got $5." This is how we talk. "Hey Joe, we got $5 to whoever lasts the longest. Whoever win get this $5." And so we were kids. It was like 30 kids out there, all between the ages of like 6 and 14, 6 and 15. And they would force us all to run and try to survive. Who was the craftiest? Who could hide the best? Who could stay the quietest in a quiet game? Who could maneuver and juke and weave and not get tagged by other people?
Wow.
And I would always win. And so, unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize that they were training and scouting and recruiting young men to be runners to carry their product and who had the capacity to like retain things and remember things. And they were scouting kids to be a part of their hood, their
Yep.
neighborhood gangs. And every time I would get that five bucks, I was just excited. And they would say, "Hey man, you're gonna take this." It was a brown bag and it was wrapped up. And they say, "You gotta run this bag to that corner," which was maybe approximately 300 meters away, 300 yards away. And they say, June, you gotta run down there as fast as you can, drop it off to the guy with the hat, and run back as fast as you can. That's it. You get your $5. And it was a game to me.
Right.
I'm set. I'm 7,
Yeah.
8. I have no idea. So I
No.
get the thing and I'm just boom, I take off and I'm out of there. I do what I need to do, get back. They give me $5 and a push pop. and I'm chilling.
Yeah.
I got to push pop at some,
Yeah.
at the time, bags of Doritos were a premium.
Yeah.
Little 25-cent bags of Doritos,
Hey.
$5, and I was good for the day. My fun dip, I was chilling. So literally that was a part of it. And they would also force us to like fight each other and to wrestle and play karate. So when, I personally believe I'd been into over 40 fist fights before I was 8, at least 40, because we would fight like 4 or 5 fights a day, 4 to 5 days a week, and it was real fights with real friends and or people that they would bring from other neighborhoods and environments and say, "Hey, you guys play karate and fight one another, and whoever wins, you get $5 or you get this pickle." Literally, they would pay us with like junk food and candy and things of this nature. And we did it. We didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. It was fun, particularly for me because I was the kid that was in bubble wrap. I was the kid whose mom, when I was with my mom, I had to stay in the house and just, I never could do anything fun. So whenever I got
Yeah.
to my dad's, I was running crazy. And it was teaching me to be street savvy and teaching me to be a little bit independent. And also I learned some toughness and tenacity. I learned how to take a hit and get back up and
Clearly.
give a hit and give a hit too. So this was the reality of my childhood.
And that backdrop, I mean, you think of being born ill, growing up in the South Side of Chicago in that environment, to make your way to a top college football program and then the NFL, most people would have just crumbled under that. I mean, we wouldn't blame them, right? I mean, those are impossible circumstances, yet you overcame them. What was the mindset? What was college or high school football like? How did you get to such an elite level with all of these things that were not in your favor, clearly?
Terrific question, Amy. It is called God's grace and ignorance is bliss. I'm going to
Mm,
be honest. I didn't know what I didn't know. So for me, all I knew, it was my one universal truth was I'm going to be a pro. There was no deviation. There was no doubt. There was no room inside of me in any form or capacity that didn't lead to me experiencing the dream that I had. I truly believe in a very compelling future for myself,
yeah.
whether I understood the framework of how to get there or not, or
Mm,
whether I was in position to do it or not. I did hear in Sunday school that God honors his children. And I believed every single Sunday school song where Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world, and God will honor your prayers, and all good things work for those who are called according to his purposes and his plans. And because of some of the things that I was participating in as a young person, I really didn't know they were considered crimes or bad. I didn't know this was just life.
yeah.
That I just believed that everything that I did, I was honoring God. I thought,
Mm,
and I would pray for God's protection because my imagination was so hyperactive. I truly believed in every cartoon character that I saw was real. Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, the Ninja Turtles were real. Matter of fact, if you look, if you look at my kindergarten book where they said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I said a Ninja Turtle. I'm gonna be a Ninja Turtle when I grow up. That was what I said in kindergarten.
I
And
love it.
you could not tell me otherwise.
Oh my gosh.
And so when I was fighting the kids in the neighborhood, I was Donatello, man. I was a Ninja Turtle.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it was just the innocence of a child. And
Yeah.
I never let go of my childlike faith. And that's what it was. So we moved from Chicago. When my mom found out how bad of the environment my dad, when I was with my dad, that was the end of that. Because I think I did get hurt. I got hurt. I don't know how. Oh, I got hit by a car. That's what happened. I got hit by a car
What?
running across the street. A babysitter's daughter was supposed to be watching me, and I was not allowed to cross the street. So she runs across the street,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I can't cross the street. I'm not allowed to cross the street. And she kept running. And I said, okay, forget it. I'm just gonna go for it. And I had no real concept of looking both ways. So I just darted out, and sure enough, boom, I get smashed, flew 24 feet, and was knocked unconscious for like 30 minutes. My mom didn't realize like this is not a really great environment. And she also realized that her and my father being separated, it was too much. So they tried to reconcile,
Oh,
and they did. And then my dad got stationed to South Carolina, and we all moved as a family to South Carolina, where that's where I really started to kind of come into myself. I gained a little more independence, and my mom and my dad, I finally had a nuclear family to a degree.
yes.
And
Yeah.
so I saw that it made me happy. And so now I was experiencing a level of joy that I had not experienced. And I had access to a father who could teach me other things. And I wasn't just learning from the street. I wasn't learning from the hood. I was learning from my dad, who was also a street smart guy and
Yeah.
a monster in his own right. Once my parents, in I guess 2 years, they finally came to terms with we're just not made for each other. We can't do it. They finally separated once and for all. My father did get stationed to Germany, and that was like the last I saw him for many years. My mother and I moved to California.
Oh,
So when we moved to California, she went back into that repressive mindset of my son is not capable or he can't do things. For some reason, she regressed. And the independence that I was showcasing and demonstrating for all those years just vanished. So I was not allowed to play sports. I was not allowed to do things, especially because now California had a different terrain that I didn't fully understand because here there was Crips and Bloods and red and blue, and you had to understand the rules of the street.
yeah.
And we lived in Los Angeles, inner city, and it was a gang infested neighborhood. So I went from one gang place to a place where it was like rampant racism in South Carolina, overcame all that, then moved to California where kids who looked so weird to me, dudes rode skateboards, never seen that before. They had mohawks and wallet chains and ate sushi and drank coffee. And and you couldn't wear red, you couldn't wear blue.
Right.
I was a Chicago Bulls fan, I was a 49ers fan.
Yeah.
Those are two red colored teams, and I like their jerseys, and I'm getting punched on at school by kids who don't like those colors. And I didn't understand it. I did not get it. So now it's the gangster rap music era, and
Mm,
my mother is terrified to
mm.
let me go out because every time I come home, I'd have a busted lip or scrape over my eye, or I got hit over the head with a like a 2x4 and just trying to go to school or trying to go to the local grocery store, which was called the Vallarta. And I learned how to say that, the Vallarta.
Yeah, Vallarta, yeah, there you go. I heard it. I heard it.
And so all of this was just new. So no sports, no nothing. Put the kid back in bubble wrap. Now I feel sad and sick, like I'm off track. But I
Yes.
still believe in my future. So I'm doing push-ups and jumping jacks, everything I know how to do on my own until eventually high school. High school happens, and mind you, I'm already a somewhat of a local legend in the neighborhood because I would always sneak and go play football in the streets with my friends.
Oh,
And this is where most of the bumps and bruises really happen and all the fights happen because I was out there demolishing kids in street football as a
really?
little guy, just absolutely unstoppable. And dudes didn't like it. Guys didn't like that I was the smallest guy, but I was just pretty tough to deal with. And so I would get into fights. When I finally got to high school, my 11th grade year, now I was focusing on literature and performing arts and all these
Oh,
things because that's what my mom let me do. She let me act as a child. I did acting and play production and all these things. And I was in movies as a child,
yep.
childhood actor, Seventh Heaven,
Uh-huh.
ER,
Yeah.
Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, all of them. You name them, I was in there. Used to running company with guys like Keenan and Kel back in the day, and just I don't want to name drop, but I had some friends who were all in the industry, and I was kind of taking that road. So I signed a contract with they were called Academy Kids, and my agency used to put me in jobs every week. I was always in all these movies. And I got in a few featured movies as a body double, as a stunt, like a stunt man, but for a child. Matter of fact, there's a movie called Mars Attacks, and
Yeah.
there's an actor called Ray J.
Uh-huh.
You know who Ray J is?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was his body double in this movie.
What?
Yeah. So
That's
you
wild.
never get to see me. You never get to see me, but I'm
Right.
his likeness in the movie. So all the scenes that required him to do like action-oriented things, they were using me because I think he was actually in Washington, DC filming at the time. And we
Whoa.
were filming here in Los Angeles studios, the other scenes. So I was in a bunch of movies as a kid. And it was in those films, they always casted me for the most athletic roles. And I'm thinking, why do these actors and these producers and these directors see my skills as an athlete, but my
Mm.
mom doesn't? So
Ah,
my mom couldn't see what everyone else saw or what I felt. And this is where I love my mother, but I'm going to give the world this note. You never expect people to see eye to eye with you when God did not give them your vision.
that is so good. Wait, one more time for the people in the back.
Never expect people to see eye to eye with you because God never gave them your vision. You
Amazing.
cannot expect people to cheer for you when they don't know the seed that God planted within your heart.
Wow.
So, excuse this metaphor, but the Lord made me, in a way, pregnant with this birth of this athletic baby that was growing inside of me,
Clearly.
metaphorically speaking,
Clearly. Yeah.
that I knew that there was something inside of me bursting to come out. Now, although I did not have the physical, tangible body, I was 5'4", 131 pounds in 11th grade. There's
Well,
no way, there's no way I should have ever reached the type of stature or the prowess that I ultimately did reach
right.
until, like I said, I was dominating street football. So I had friends who played on the high school football team, and I had an acting contract that said you cannot hurt yourself. You cannot do anything that will physically alter your appearance. That
Yeah.
was including gaining weight, gaining muscularity, looking older or mature, breaking your leg, getting stitches, things of this nature. And because I was younger, I was so small, I looked younger than I was. So I could play roles as a younger
Yeah.
kid, but I was older and I had maturity and articulation. And that's kind of the trick of Hollywood. Most
Yeah.
actors are a lot older than the roles that they play.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
because I was such a tiny guy, like even when I was like 14, 15, I could play the role of a 11 or 12-year-old. And that's Hollywood likes that, right? I didn't like that because it limited me from being able to lift weights and do the things that I wanted to do. So
Yeah.
I put away acting to start physically developing my body.
Uh,
So at the age of 15, I said, I'm done with acting. I'm
okay.
going to concentrate on getting bigger, stronger, and do the best that I can because I'm going pro. Now, combine that mindset with all of my friends saying like that guy can actually play football. They went and talked to the head football coaches and he began to recruit me and never seen me play before.
Have you ever thought about having multiple streams of income? Instead of relying on just one stream of income where you're trading your time for money, how would you like to free up more of your time and live a more abundant life? As a listener of the show, you're invited to attend one of our upcoming trainings where I'll give you an inside look into how you can add passive income and get all the other perks of recession resistant real estate investing without the headaches of being a landlord. I'll also be sharing some hidden mistakes to avoid and the criteria I personally look for when evaluating potential investment opportunities. To reserve your seat for free, go to sylviscapital.com/webinar. Again, that special link to reserve your seat for free is sylviscapital.com/webinar. I look forward to seeing you on the training. And now back to the show. Whoa.
Finally, I snuck and tried out for the football team and I did well. And I made the first round of cuts and all of the kids got their equipment and it was a Saturday afternoon. The whole school was excited for this. And they said, as soon as they get their equipment, they're going to play like a little scrimmage in the local park.
Yes.
So I never put on pads or helmet, anything. I didn't even have cleats,
Really?
nothing. And one of my friends said, you should come and watch the game. So I'm watching and I'm lamenting that I'm not out there. I'm just dreading it. Like, dang, man, they already made the team. I made the
Mm.
first. I didn't go beyond that. I should have tried. And my mom wouldn't have let me anyway, but I still should have tried.
Yeah.
So my buddy let me put on his gear. and I got to play a few plays and I went crazy. And I didn't realize that I was playing against the varsity players, but none of them could stop me. And I was this little guy that was unstoppable, but no one knew that the coach was parked on a hill above us, looking down, looking through binoculars, watching the game from his car.
No.
So he was learning what players he had. And when that happened, he saw me. So that following Monday at school, I get summoned out of class and he says, I want you to take 6-period football. Get out of this PE class and take 6-period football. You don't have to play, but you should not be in a general PE class. You should be in a football class. So I
Wow.
did. I switched my class and I started to secretly train and work out with the football program.
Oh my gosh. Wait, JWalk, can you say
This-
what high school this was?
Yeah. This is Birmingham High School
Okay. All right.
in
All
the
right.
San Fernando Valley.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It was a charter school known
Yeah.
for its School of Theater and Performing Arts.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it was most noteworthy for. So I'm in the football class. I'm finally lifting weights for the first time and learning how to run routes and doing all the things football players do. And I get to practice with them, but I don't have a physical or medical clearance, anything of this nature. Forge a medical form, forge my mom's signature. I walk a few blocks, catch the local bus to a clinic, and she gave me a physical, the nurse did.
No.
And I brought that back to the school. I got medically cleared to play. Now, had they known that I only had one primary lung, I would not have been cleared.
What?
I would not have been medically cleared to play. So
JWalk.
I'm normal guy, respiratory man, all good.
Respiratory man.
Respiratory man. Let's play football. So summer of that junior year, I start to hit a little bit of a growth spurt. And now I'm out there playing with the team. And I tell my mom, I said, Mom, in summer school, there's this school called CSUN, Cal State Northridge. So I found this program that offered college credits for a English and American literature internship.
Okay.
And they said, if you go through this summer program, you get college credits.
Mm.
I presented these fake documents. It was a real program, but it was a fake document. I said, Mom, can I get your signature to stay at school all summer to mentor these kids? And they're going to give me college credits. And my mom said, oh, I'm so proud of you. Yeah, Sarah, my baby's such a good student. So boom, she signs off. And that gives me permission to stay at school all summer long, training with the football team, going to camp. Some coaches helped sponsor some of my gear and players gave me hand-me-downs. And I joined the football team secretly, unbeknownst to my mom. We went to let me think. At the time, it was called passing league. They weren't called 7-on-7s.
Right.
Passing league.
Yeah.
And there were some scouts there. And some Nike officials were there. And I was at this passing league just doing the best I could, playing football. And they saw me and they came up and offered their information to my head coach. They were like, that kid right there. And my coach presents me with this invitation to a Nike camp that was hosted at USC. So I told my mom, I said, Mom, there's this free camp that they're letting kids do. And you get to tour USC campus, you get to walk around. And she was like, well, what is it? I said, it's kind of like fun, you get to run and catch the ball and meet the college students, but you get to see the campus. So she said, okay, well, how you getting there? I said, my coach said he'll take me. Your coach? I said, I mean, my friend's mom, and my friend's mom said he'll take me. Who's your coach? And so now I'm spilling the beans by mistake. But
Oh my
she
gosh.
watched the alibi. So I go to the Nike camp and I do well. I leave there with a national ranking. So I do pretty well at my first ever showcase.
Wait,
Now,
is this 2000 or this is 99?
this is 90, I want to say 90, summer of 99.
Okay,
Yep.
so this is Paul
Summer of
Hackett
99.
still.
Paul Hackett.
Yeah. Okay.
Paul
All right.
Hackett.
I'm just tracking.
So I'm giving it to you like you asked.
I appreciate it.
It's quite loaded, sis. It's
It's
quite
amazing.
loaded.
No, it's
So
incredible.
So I go to the camp, my coach takes me and I do pretty well, right? I run like a 4.5 or something. And I guess that's fast. I don't even know what 4.5 means. I don't know anything, nothing. I'm just running and catching the ball like I know how to do, like I've done since the Cabrini Greens in Chicago. So after that, now the season starts. Opening game, my junior year, now I've grown about 4 or 5 inches. So now I'm about 5'11". Throughout that summer, I grew, I stretched. And so thank God that he was finally blessing me with the size that was matching the heart and the head. So
Vision.
now I'm getting the stature, right? Faith without works is dead. So my faith combined with the work that I put in allowed God to meet me there and help bridge that gap. So now my body is starting to manifest with the mentality and the spirituality that I had. My first game was an away game. And I'd already said on my alibi, I told my mom, hey, mom, I'm going to spend the night at it was my best friend. His name was Brian. And I'm going to spend the night at Brian's house. He was an actor with me. He's in play production as well. So my mom and I knew that he and I were close. I said, I'm going to spend the night at his house. But he knew that, you know, it was because I couldn't tell my mom Friday night I'm going to be out past 11 because I have a high school football game.
Oh my God.
I have a high school football game. My cousin knew, the school knew, my coaches knew, the whole school knew. Don't tell John's mom. Don't tell John's mama that he's
That's-
playing football or else it's over with.
That is
It's over.
crazy.
So I had all these people working for me, like this collective faith. But my cousin, who is my aunt's daughter, my mom's niece, they're very close. So my cousin is on the drill team, and she accidentally says, apparently, Auntie, are you going to John's game tonight? Game? What game?
Oh my God.
I mean, no. What game are you talking about? And she says, no, just what game? So opening kickoff, I'm about to catch the opening kickoff. I'm the starting kickoff returner, starting corner, starting outside receiver. Never played in a high school tackle game in my life, ever, besides street football and that one game at the park. As I'm about to catch the kickoff, I hear my mom's voice cut through the crowd's noise. John Walker.
Stop it. Are you serious?
I am not joking. My spine locks up. I immediately feel my knees get weak and I have to throw up and run to the bathroom at the same time. It was the fear of God all over me. And I look to the sideline and she's leaning on the fence and she's got these piercing eyes
I
that are
bet.
just, and she's like steam and that's smoke coming out of her ears. I was like, oh my God, she's over. I'm about to call timeout before the game is
Right?
it's kickoff. I'm about to call timeout.
Oh
I can see my coach about to call timeout. I see my coach and several teammates hitting him, pointing at my mom, leaning over the fence, about to hop on the track and run onto the field. And they're like, John's mama is here.
And they all knew. She's not
Everyone
supposed to
knew.
know.
My coach was terrified. So she screams and she says, you better run. You better run. And I was like, run to you or to the field? She said, run. So I just, boom, ball comes. I catch it. I look up. Everything's in slow motion. I see lights flashing and colors flashing. And next thing I know, I get dropped by like 4 guys and the pile is all over me.
I bet.
And I can hear myself breathing under the pile and the pressure of all the people. I'm squeezing the ball and I could just hear myself.
Oh.
And slowly the tunnel gets lighter. All the bodies come up.
Yeah.
A hand comes down, helps me up. And then the sound comes back on.
Ooh.
Check on my parts, check on my pieces.
Yeah.
And I realize I'm not dead. I'm alive. I made it. Okay, it's a game. So I jog over to the sideline. Coach taps me on the head. He says, all right, you're out there with the ones. Get out there. And he said, what's up with your mom? I said, I don't know. And the rest is history. I went out there, I played. I ended up having like 12 tackles and 2 or 3 pass breakups, like 5 or 6 catches. Here's the miracle.
Yep.
Fast forward 4 years. So my mom saw that I could do it.
Yep.
That's number one. She was very upset that I lied to her.
I'm sure.
She was very relieved that I wasn't as fragile as she believed I was.
Right.
So like her whole, she had a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
She's like, gosh, I thought he was this broken little fragile incubator for all these years, but my son has turned into be a man. And so I told her, I said, Mom, you've done such a great job of taking care of me. This is the only way I know how I could take care of you.
Wow.
And so it's my turn. I said, give me the ball, Mom. You've been carrying it for too long. Let me run with it. I said, your son is strong enough to carry the ball.
Wow.
And my mom lives with me right now to this day. My mother was diagnosed with dementia in September. And so she's my baby. She lives with me right now.
Bless.
And 4 games into that very first year of football, USC offers me a full scholarship. I accepted it, and the rest is history.
Unbelievable. Was it Pete Carroll that gave you the scholarship? I'm trying.
It was
Paul
still
Hackett.
Paul Hackett. He
Little
remembered me
did you
from
know.
yeah, he remembered me from that camp. He invited me to the campus on an academic, under the guise of an academic opportunity. It was called Junior Day, and I had a 4.0 grade point average at the time, so I had straight A's. And they invited me to come and tour the campus. Well, while I was touring the campus, it was about 200 or 300 kids, most of which personally did not look like me at all. They all were different. They did not look like me. And so I felt very much out of place. It was the first time I'd ever been on. It was the second college campus I'd ever been on. The first one was CSUN.
CSUN, yeah.
USC was the second college campus I'd ever been on in my life. And it was so big and grandiose. It looked like its own city. USC may as well have been its own city, its own village to me, because in my mind, it was like, it's an organism. It's its own thing. Like, it has its own streets, its own houses, its own townships. It has its own stuff. And so it was so big. And I was asking myself, is this what it means to go pro? And I'm like, Lord, you've got me one step closer. Now I'm starting to touch and taste the dream. Wow. I know success leaves breadcrumbs. I'm following those breadcrumbs to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
And now I'm positioned here. Whether someone, it was like I accidentally on purpose found the success I was dreaming for. Right. In that junior day, they pull me out of the meeting. Coach Ed Ogeron screams, is there a John Walker in this group? John Walker. I'm screaming.
Is he ever not screaming? Walker. Is he ever not screaming?
His name is slicing through my core. My soul is starting this. Yeah. Amy, my soul is trembling because he's like, John Walker. And I'm dead silent. Now, mind you, we had just left Heritage Hall. So they just took us on the part of the campus tour where we're looking at the history of USC. It was the first time I ever saw Marcus Allen.
Yeah.
I love Marcus Allen. That's Charles White. That's Lynn Swann. That's Keyshawn Johnson. That's
yeah.
And all of the champions, all of the Heismans. I had no idea about the history. I was like, Ronnie Lott. At that time, Ronnie Lott was my favorite defensive player in history because I love Jerry Rice and I love Ronnie Lott.
Wow.
And so now it's all making sense. I was destined to be here. I've loved these players, this place my whole life, and I did not know it. I have been homesick for this moment and I didn't know it. I'm finally home. I was homesick for a place that I'd never been.
Incredible.
God just opened the doors and he honored it. That very day, Coach O screaming. Now, mind you, I touched the trophy. I touched the case where the trophy was just to shit. And it was OJ's. I touched OJ's.
Wow.
And after that, that's when Coach O was like, John Walker. So now I'm correlating. Uh-oh, I just did something wrong. So he said, is there John Walker in this group? And I kid you not, any of my response was, I didn't steal nothing.
Oh, no.
I'm supposed to be here. They invited me here. I got this paper. Says I'm supposed to be here.
He was just trying to find you. Yeah.
My ignorance and my like lack of feeling like I belonged there.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I felt like I wasn't supposed to be there. Like I was a fraud.
Yeah.
And he said, Joe, he said, what did you say? I said, I didn't steal nothing. Man, I'm supposed to be here, man. I got And he said, what are you talking about, son? Come here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come here. And he said, my name is Coach Edo Giron. He said, I'm the defensive line coach
Mhm.
and one of the defensive coordinators. He said, let me talk to you. So he pulled me out of that meeting. He pulled me out of that group with all those regular civilians. Then he took me on a private tour of the football facilities. He showed me the locker room, the weight room, the camp, like the campus in a way that those other people could not have expressed.
Yeah.
I get into the locker room. He gives me an index card. It has three numbers on it. It's a combination. I twist open the combo, open it up, and inside of it is a jersey, a USC jersey with my high school game number, number 8,
Wow.
wristbands, gloves, cleats, a helmet, press clippings of the last few times I was in the Los Angeles Times paper as a writer from those first 4 games. And in those first couple of games, I think I was like defensive player of the week, like 2 weeks in a row or something, just because I didn't know how to play football. Not really. I didn't know the rules of football. So I was playing like a maniac. I was playing like a guy who didn't know that there was limits to the game.
Yeah. I love it. I
And
love
because
it.
of it, it looks so raw. It looks
Yep.
so unfiltered, like spirited. I
That
was
was
so
your
happy
hedge.
that I finally was free. My mom took the handcuffs off of
Right.
this fire that was burning and she unleashed it and I was able to go, right? So SC saw that and they recruited me and they took me out to meet Paul Hackett. He offered me a full scholarship. I accepted right there on the spot,
Of
verbal,
course.
and the rest was history. And I kid you not, that's been my story this whole time.
2 national championships later, an NFL career. I gotta show everyone. Let's see, is this popping up? Is this gonna pop up? Oh yeah, there it is.
Let's
I don't know if we
go.
can see JWalk on the sideline somewhere there. This is before the game kicked off, but it was just one of the national championship
Just
games
one of them.
that you got to play in. Just one, right? Yeah, look
Just
at
one
that.
of these.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
man.
Fred, we're gonna have to do a part 2 or something because your story is so moving, it's so
Absolutely.
incredible. Your faith, your walk, your determination, uh, your grit. I mean, it's just, and I know that's just part of your story. I know that's just a small segment of it. I'm so grateful because I know how many people you're going to encourage, how many people you're going to bring closer to their faith as a result of sharing this. People that might be lost. They might feel like that they don't matter or that the odds are stacked against them. I mean, your story shows clearly that anything is possible. I still think of you as a little 3-pound baby, and look what you were able to achieve. I just absolutely incredible.
Glory to my Father in heaven who has honored his word. The word, it is Amy. It is the word, Amy.
Yeah.
It is the word, my source. This is my life GPS system. The word of God, this is my navigation system. Without this, I'm lost. There is no, there is no direction. This is my compass. This is my GPS. This is my sword and my shield. This is my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner. And it is because of the truth that I found in the scriptures, this heavenly text and this spiritual technology of prayer
Mm.
that has given me the ability to talk to my Father in heaven and have real fellowship and communication with him and knowing God's truth and Jesus revealing his face to me at a young age. And when blessing my Father to speak prophetically into my life and then me to fully and earnestly believe the truth of those words governed over me has been the greatest covering that I could have. And I will never let those promises go. The Bible says the power of life and death lives in the tongue. And you speak things into existence. You speak that is not as though it were. And you allow God to honor your words as long as it is like in alignment with his divine will for you. So I am just so blessed and fortunate that I had access to faith and spirituality at a young age. I'm grateful that my mother experienced a miracle to help her realize the truth of Jesus Christ. And my father seeing his sickly son turn into the man that he became.
Truly.
Those were all things that are just true testaments of God's divine providence and covering over his chosen children. And we are all chosen by our Father in heaven. He loved us first. So that is why I love him unconditionally. And me back there, that guy, that's me throwing up victory, but I'm in my mind, I'm screaming, fight on, hallelujah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is what I'm screaming. Hallelujah and fight on. And I'm offering God the highest praises. And the praises go up, the blessings come down.
Incredible. Friend, thank you so much. I hope that you'll be willing to do a part 2. We are not done.
Absolutely.
But this was
Absolutely.
so encouraging, so inspiring. I know you're a busy man. You've got a wife and children and a career and all those things, that you chose to spend this time with us telling your story because of how much it's going to benefit others and, of course, glorify God. So thank you again so much for sharing and allowing this
Thank you.
lady who used to watch you play on the field as a Trojan get really excited to get to know you. And of course, again, shout out USCJ for connecting us. Yes, yes, yes.
My brother, fight on, fight on.
Oh my gosh. Thanks everyone so much for joining us. JWalk, if people want to reach out to you, I bet they're going to. What's the best way for them to be in touch?
Okay, so I have social media, but I don't manage it personally. My wife manages most of that stuff for
Yeah.
me, thank God. But my Instagram is at John Walker Pro.
Okay.
That pro is on there, at John Walker Pro. And my website to reach me is coach-j-walk. Coach-j-walk, like not the slash, but the little dash in between.
Dash. Perfect.
And that is how you can reach me. I'm also on Google. I run a youth mentorship program, as you
Oh,
can see.
beautiful.
So I work in real estate. I'm an entrepreneur across multiple fronts. I coach youth athletes. I coach professional athletes, but most importantly, I try to speak life into young people and help them understand how to bridge the gap between where they are today and where their true potential lives. And the goal is to unpack the giftings that God blessed them with so that we can collectively bring a living Jesus to a dying world.
Mhm.
And that is something that I really, really believe. And I want young people of this generation to understand their identity in Christ and not be so confused. And I want to pull down the walls of confusion, anxiety, depression, despair, grief, sickness. I want to break those walls down and tear apart those chains and free the captives and allow everyone to know that there's a Father in heaven who loves them. And there are people that you could talk to who are interceding and praying for you. And we can get there one day, one step, one breath at a time.
Incredible. We're going to put all of your contact information in the show notes. So if people are driving and listening or doing something else, they can easily get in touch with you. I would encourage everyone to reach out to JWalk, thank him, and learn more about all the great things that he does to make the world a better place. Thank you again, friend. I look forward to doing this again
Thank
soon.
you, Amy.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me run my mouth. I
Oh,
appreciate
it's
it.
amazing. Are you kidding? It makes my job easier as a podcast interviewer, right? It's great. I'm like, he's way more interesting than I could ever be. So this is fantastic. All right.
Absolutely.
Thanks
It's
again.
awesome.
Thanks, everyone. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you joining us. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Secrets to Abundant Living podcast. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights that will empower you on your journey towards abundance. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback means the world to us, and it helps others discover the secrets to an abundant life too. Stay connected with us on LinkedIn, Amy Sylvis. Keep striving for your goals, nurturing your relationships, and embracing the adventure that is life. Until next time, we wish you an abundantly fulfilling day.